Hello and welcome folks, Wizuko here, and I know the Pokemon Sword and Shield games are a little while back already, but the way I see it, it had only been about enough time passed to really find out what was it that Sword and Shield really missed out with. I love every new gen. I'm a bit of a fangirl. I don't need much more than a few new Pokemon to impress me, really. I mean, yeah, I criticize some gens here and there, but at the end of the day, Pokemon is one of my most favorite franchises ever. And I have fantastical ideas that might not even be realistic, but I think they would make a cool game even cooler. So let's start with the starter Pokemon trio. The first look on the game wouldn't be complete without the starter Pokemon trio. They are, in a way, the face for a whole gen. And I think right there lies the biggest missed opportunity. Because when I first saw those cuddly guys, I thought they were going in a complete different direction. With Scorbunny, Energetic Sprint, and Yellow Stripes, I saw Scorbunny maybe becoming a fire-electric type. With Sobble's weird hands and body shape, I thought he would become a water bug when he grows. Grookey was hammering on the ground, and I know that's weak, but I kind of thought maybe that's because he's a grass ground type. I know that's weak, but still, honestly, you can't tell me that you wouldn't buy that looking at those designs. Just imagine how the designs could have evolved from there on with that new typing in mind. I mean, it's no secret that I don't like the design of Inteleon, and that is part of why I'm still a little upset that I wasn't right in the end with my type wishes. But it's more than just design. It would be such a cool dynamic. We'd have the first type triangle that would also work out switched. That means that whatever my rival chooses, I have a type combo to numb out type advantages. Seeing how the rivals in Pokemon evolved from evil kids running around, making your life harder on purpose, to really supportive friends that have a friendly rivalry going on. I think that would have been a good match. Imagine a battle between Grookey and Sobble, where Grookey has to pull both ground and grass moves, and Sobble gets back with bug moves. I think the battle would be much more interesting than, oh no, Grookey learned his first grass type attack. Oh no, I'ma die. Oh. I personally think that Game Freak doesn't enjoy creating battles like this anymore, and that's the reason why the recent rivals would pick whatever is weak to your starter, rather than the one with the type advantage. But wouldn't it be a cool throwback to choose your starter and knowing that your rival would evolve his own starter to get a new type advantage back? That could be used for such a cool all changes now battle kind of thing. A literal turning point. God damn it, I wish they would have done that. Pokemon Sword and Shield is the first Pokemon main series game that wouldn't just be a handheld, but also a home console game. I think to do something more exciting with the starters, something we didn't had before, would have been more fair. To celebrate this milestone, I mean. I wish they did something so new and, in my opinion, so exciting with the new Pokemon starter trio. Part 2. Contests. I bet that a lot of people never saw a point in Pokemon contests. And I too, personally, for a very long time at least, didn't appreciate them either. But with Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, I really came to love them. More for the fact that people in the Pokemon world were not all bothered with battles, but with something else. Connecting with their Pokemon and making them the main thing in their lives, but not to fight. I love this alternative. And contests where, when you really get into it, challenging and really fun, believe it or not. You have to build up and train your Pokemon in a completely different way. You care for your Pokemon in a different way. Honestly, I think a great counter to all the battles that you usually go through. In the anime, contests were a great addition to Ash's main quest too, giving his companions real aspirations and to focus on the greatness in others from time to time, while also maybe to appeal more to a new audience that wouldn't enjoy battling as much. With the remakes of Diamond and Pearl being worked on at the same time as Sword and Shield were, or at least it overlapped a little, I would have thought that contests were a given in Sword and Shield. However, they are not, and I don't understand that at all. First and foremost, when you add a feature to a game, you need to ask yourself, does that feature fit into my world or game? But let's concentrate on the first option. And the Galar region would be such a world. So let us ask ourselves, does a fictional world that is based on Great Britain and Pokemon, fictional animals, and contests fit together? Well, let's have a look at Britain's history with animal contests to answer that question. In June 1859, the dog show was born in England, the biggest dog breeding competition, and back then, one of the first. And up to today, USA and UK battle it out who is the bigger dog enthusiast. Imagine how enthusiastic a country needs to be in order to battle another country that is like 5 times the size. In my opinion, that makes it safe to say that England and animal contests would fit together. Maybe narrowed down to dog-like animals, but you clearly have a justification to add contests if you ever needed one. In fact, I would go as far as to say that it would add a lot of credibility to your world if you would have added them. For me, who is not English and has a tourist view on England, I have the picture of horse races and the Queen's dog breeding in mind when I think of England and animal contests. I know that is kinda a stereotype, but there's truth to be found there. After all, they do exist. And at least to laugh off those stereotypes, I would have appreciated contests. Aside from the whole world-building hocus pocus, I think that the games were rather short. After I've beaten the main story, I was just waiting around for the DLC without knowing they were even coming. Usually when I play a new gen, I really sink into it. I possess no Pokemon game that at the end of the gen wouldn't have spent more than 500 hours in. I mean, that was like the absolute minimum of gameplay. However, not Sword and Shield. I felt like, yeah, the world is kinda biggish, I guess, but what now? Of course, contests wouldn't solve everything and fill this void completely, but it would have been a start. Oh, and imagine the outfits. The outfits! You could have parodied Britain's Got Talent. The opportunity was right there. Part 3. Pokepilago. I love to breed in Pokemon Sun and Moon. I did it before, but in Sun and Moon, it's just too handy. The Pokepilago has a lot of neat features that I really miss in Sword and Shield. But nothing do I miss more than the hot springs of Pokepilago. For those who don't know, in the hot springs of Pokepilago, you can put up to 18 Pokemon eggs there, and they will hatch after about 24 hours, real time passed. Or you could use some beans to make this progress faster. And I love this feature. It's my favorite feature from Sun and Moon, hands down. I breed Pokemon every day, but that way I don't have to spend so much time each day breeding. It's a good mix because in total, 32 eggs per day doesn't eliminate the need to breed manually completely, but it helps out enough to feel like a real help. And the thing is that breeding is not super lame, but also not super fun. You're basically just running in circles after all, over and over until those eggs hatch. On some days, I don't do that at all, but put the eggs right into those hot springs and come back in the evening to hatch them all. Hatching Pokemon that way feels way more effective and ultimately gets rid of a very boring and repetitive activity that you now have to go through, unfortunately. I think the reason why I still don't play Sword and Shield daily, but I still play Sun and Moon daily, is because the breeding is much more handy in Sun and Moon. And if I'm being honest with myself, I guess my ultimate goal of getting a complete, perfect, living Pokédex would be far more work with Sword and Shield. Part 4. A quest log. Did you play the Diglett quest from the Isle of Armor DLC? Well, then you went through a real torture, because this quest is extremely hard and the game isn't really helping you to complete it. In short, there are a ton of Digletts running around the Isle of Armor and they're hidden somewhere where you have to find them. However, there is no way to track your progress. So if you didn't write down how many Digletts you found in that area, good luck. There is a ton of them, and they are incredibly hard to find. And you have no way to find out how many are left, because the only time the game tells you how far you've come is when you found a Diglett. And that's only one example. Admittedly, there are not so many quests, if you want to call them that way, in Sword and Shield. However, it will be forever a mystery to me how on earth you can nowadays think that you can introduce quests to your game, but not include a quest log. Like, what the hell? To me, that is a real game breaker. How am I supposed to continue that quest after I did a Sword and Shield break? What a missed opportunity indeed. Part 5. Online features. Online features is not really the best way to put it, but what can I say? I didn't come up with anything cooler, so here I go anyway. The global trading system, the GTS, that was first introduced in Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, but I feel like it was perfected in Sun and Moon, is an easy to access and very simple trading platform. You want a Pokemon you don't have? Well, you trade one that you do have, but you don't need or want anymore. And when you, like me, don't have real-life friends to play Pokemon with, that is very handy. You can basically get any Pokemon as long as you have something to trade. And I love this feature. However, for some reason, this feature does not exist in Sword and Shield. There is a version, however, of the GTS that does exist and is compatible with Sword and Shield, but it is hidden behind a paywall because you can access it only via Pokemon Home, which needs a separate subscription. And I wonder, why? Why, Game Freak? I understand that the GTS had its bugs and fair share of problems. Like, there was the problem with hacked Pokemon, or the Pokerus thing that was going around. All in all, however, I feel like I've used the system for years now, you know? And I didn't experience problems firsthand, ever. I only read them on the news. It never affected me in any way, even though there was a time I would use the GTS on a daily basis. So I feel like those problems are relatively small, while the benefits are quite overpowering. And for some reason, the Wonder Trade thing, in my opinion, is the worst version of this feature, is still in the game, while the real GTS platform is not. Huh? Like, why? What's even the point? Another technical issue I have with Pokemon is the matchmaking and online communication. There is none. There is no way you can get to know someone via Pokemon interactions. The game doesn't provide any way to actually talk to another player. And don't get me wrong, having the possibility to freely talk to other players do have some risks. I know that, like chat abuse or predatory behavior, and I understand that Game Freak isn't willing to touch upon that. Still, there had been and still are ways to communicate with each other, but with limits, like chat bubbles with preset texts that you can send back and forth to communicate what you want to trade or that you want to rematch, stuff like that. With the way Game Freak designed the wild area, especially when you also play online, I was prepared to get a load of new online features. But there really is none. I mean, what really is the point of seeing other players circle by? I wish that had some sort of real use, like meeting others or playing together. But when it comes to online features, Pokemon Sword and Shield feels a little underdeveloped, and I can't help but wonder, why not have a place in the wild area for meeting, battling, and trading? all online, of course. A specific area where you could actually make use of internet features, rather than the gimmick that some other players are visible but not doing anything. If you know me, you know I like hubs, and I think Pokemon, of all games, could really put that to good use. And those are the opportunities Pokemon Sword and Shield missed out on, in my opinion. It could have been the first Pokemon game with a starter trio whose weaknesses and strengths go two ways. It could bring back contests in honor of the real-world counterpart that Galar is based on. It could have continued the Poképelago and evolved it like Sun and Moon did the version of X and Y. It could have a quest log to side along those mini-quest things you can encounter across Galar. And lastly, it could have made good use of online features. But what do I know? Maybe it's for the better Sword and Shield never introduced any of those features. What do you think? Did I miss anything? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you very, very much for watching, liking, and commenting. New videos are up every Wednesday, and you can also visit me on streams every Saturday if you want. So I hope to see you again soon, and until then, have it good. Bye!